predictions pan out. For decades, it's been the global organization charged with caring for Palestinian refugees. And this month, the United Nations Relief and Works Agency marks its 60th anniversary. Known as UNRWA, the agency's mandate has been repeatedly renewed, and today it provides basic services to millions of Palestinian refugees. The BBC's Barbara Plett looks at the continuing mission and at the controversy that it's drawn.
In the hard-scrabble life of Palestinian refugees, education provides hope for the future. And for many, the main source of schooling is the United Nations. Several generations of refugees have been through UNRWA schools. It's an achievement commemorated by 60th anniversary events at UN headquarters in New York, but it isn't celebrated. UNRWA was set up in 1949 to look after hundreds of thousands of Palestinians who fled or were driven out of what became Israel during the First Arab-Israeli War. It was supposed to provide temporary shelter pending the refugees' right of return, a right enshrined in UN resolutions. But 60 years on, the refugees are still stateless. Today, UNRWA supports more than 4 million Palestinian refugees located in 5 different countries. It gives them food, housing, schools, hospitals. For many of them, it's the closest thing they have to a state. Hussein Mansour grew up in a cramped shelter built by UNRWA. He attended UN schools and received extra UN rations after his father died. He now heads a school for the deaf. He's keenly aware of what he owes to the agency, but also how dependent on it the refugees are.
Well, I think for every Palestinian refugees here, when he see the flag or the place of the which is related to UNRWA, it means that we more than 16 years we are still under occupation with no rights.
But is UNRWA simply a humanitarian agency? The Israelis say no. They charge that it's used politically by the Arab states to exploit the refugee issue as a weapon in their diplomatic war against Israel, which is fought out at the United Nations.
UNRWA receives a yearly backing from the international community, from the UN General Assembly, with very politicized, I would say even somewhat anti-Israeli resolutions that set the mandate for UNRWA to work. So by definition, UNRWA cannot be seen only as a humanitarian organization.
UNRWA strongly denies any political agenda, but it does argue that it often has to take on an advocacy role, not least because of Israeli policies. In Gaza, for example, an Israeli blockade has prevented recovery from the January war.
We have 1 million refugees in Gaza. 80% of the Gaza Strip are aid dependent, and we have to advocate against this cruel collective punishment that is making life so utterly miserable. And let's be clear, this is not a humanitarian crisis caused by a natural disaster. This is a humanitarian crisis of choice, of a direct political choice.
Until there's a political resolution of the conflict, UNRWA will remain. No one wants it dismantled, including the Israelis. But after 60 years, the only solution refugees are likely to accept is a return to a state of their own, or wherever else they regard as home. Barbara Plett, BBC News at the United Nations in New York.